Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Mayor Randall Woodfin. I have the pleasure to be here with City Councilor Crystal Smitherman, who represents District 6. We're happy to be here to give an update and to have this town hall meeting to discuss some updates on things that are happening in your district, as well as to provide an opportunity, if you all have any questions and or concerns or issues, that we can address and answer. I want to pause for a second and acknowledge the devastation that's taking place in the cities of Fultondale as well as Central Point and other areas in Jefferson County. There has been a tremendous amount of devastation in the city of Fultondale, which includes the loss of life, as well as many people we all know, some of you even city employees, who have had home damage or homes destroyed, so much devastation. I want to acknowledge that the city of Fultondale is literally the next city to the north of us, and Center Point is the next city to the east of us. I think it's always important to be good neighbors. I had the opportunity to speak with both mayors at about 11:30 p.m. last night, as well as about 6:30 a.m. this morning. I ask you, not only as residents of the city of Birmingham, but just as human beings, to keep the city of Fultondale and the citizens of Fultondale as well as Central Point in your prayers and thoughts. And we will continue to reach out to them if we can be of any assistance to those two cities. As a good neighbor, that's what we must do, and we look forward to doing that. I got some housekeeping notes I want to share with y'all. The first is a thank you. Thank you to the employees behind the scenes for the mayor's office as well as the city council office for helping us with this event. As you know, our town hall meetings in 18 and 19 were all in person. In 20, we switched to online. But there are many people behind the scenes you all can't see that is making this event possible. So thank you to them who are all in the room with us, but you all can't see. In addition to that, I want to provide an update for you all in regards to some of the work being done on COVID. The first is to acknowledge another thank you. Thank you for your prayers and concerns for me and for others, city councilor staff, anyone, and all of our city employees who either had COVID or had a family member touched by COVID. Listen, the most important thing, everybody, I want you to continue to be safe. COVID is still real. It affects everybody differently. I don't want anybody to catch it. And I definitely don't want anyone else to die from it. So please continue to wear your face covers, wash your hands, elbow people, don't touch people who don't stay in your household, and just be careful what you touch. That being the case, the vaccination is now available. I think it's important as a city that Councilman Crystal Smitherman and I and her colleagues continue to speak to Dr. Mark Wilson, who's over the health department, as well as our friends over at UAB, about ramping up access for people getting the vaccination. Speaking of, I know there's a lot of disinformation out there as well as mistrust related to the vaccination. What I will tell you, very simple, vaccination can save your life and will save your life. And I want to encourage you to take it. It's important, not just to get back to our way of life, but as a way of actually saving your life. I really want to encourage you to take the vaccination. A few other housekeeping notes, and then we will jump into what we came here for, which is to provide an update and Q&A. One is I want to encourage viewers who are watching on WebEx as well as Facebook to go ahead and ask your questions in the Q&A section and submit your questions so that our process can be for you, since we're not in person, to provide you a microphone. And then the last thing, which is probably the most important thing, is I'm going to yield the floor for a minute and allow Councilor Crystal Smitherman to bring you any greetings she wants.
Thank you, Mayor Woodfin. Good evening, everyone. First off, I want to say thank you. Thank you for being strong during this pandemic. I know it's been hard. I know it's been lonely staying in your house, but we all want to thank you for doing your part during this pandemic. Now, we've received your phone calls, we've logged in your complaints, but we want to give you all opportunity to talk to both of us, your mayor and your city councilor, to ask us questions in real time. I know it's really hard to see us in person because of the pandemic, but we want you to be able to feel like you still have the same access to us. So we're just going to be here, give you some updates, and hope you guys are informed about what's going on in the district. Thank you, Mayor Wilson.
Thank you. Always good to do this with you. I got one more housekeeping note. I know when we get into our questions and answers, there are professional people who do things every day that the council and I may not be able to answer. However, I do want you to know that we have some panelists that will be a part of the Q&A if there's a question that the counselor and I cannot answer. That is James Fowler of the Department of Transportation, Edwin Revelle, or P, is the Director of PEP. Ralph Barton-Laban is the Director of Public Works, and Denise Bell is the Director of Capital Projects. We also have many people with the BPD, which includes Chief Patrick Smith, Assistant Police Chief Darnell Davenport, Deputy Police Chief Ron Sellers, three of our captains from North Precinct, South Precinct, and West Precinct, Mitchell Pruitt, Harry Greenberg, and Anya Dole, as well as Boris Ragland of BPD. So that being the case, we will now go into some updates, and we will have a PowerPoint to show you, which may prevent you from seeing our faces, but you will hear our voices. So with that, team, if you can, pull up the PowerPoint, please. So I have an actual physical copy of this PowerPoint. From time to time, I may look down, I may look up, but you can hear my voice as this information is shared. The first thing I want to share with you all is do not forget that you have two community resource representatives, everybody. The residents of District 6, Harold Houston and Herman Lumsey of the Department of Community Development are your representatives from the city. We are happy that you reach out to Councilor Chris Smitherman and her staff, but we want when you have an issue, when you have a concern, when you have a question, if you're mad about something, if you see something, please do not hesitate to call Harold Houston and Herman Lumsey, who are your community resource representatives. Harold Houston's number is 205-254-2523. Again, Mr. Houston's number is 205-254-2523, and Herman Lumsey's number is 205-297-8244. Again, Mr. Lumsey's number is 205-297-8244. I really want the citizens and residents of District 6 to take advantage of their phone numbers. You have an issue, you see an issue, you have a concern, you have a question, you need something addressed, you need something resolved, please call me. I want to jump straight into demolition. I know this is always a consistent concern for our citizens, not just in District 6, but across the entire city. Just a simple update. Structures demolished, as you see here, since January 1 of 2019. So that's over the last 2 years. There's 141 houses beyond repair in your district, in District 6. You see the breakout of 135 that are contracted by us, and you see 6 that are private demo. We're not going to stop. This is something we do every day across the city, which is why your number looks the way it does. A minimum of one dilapidated structure that is beyond repair is torn down in our city every single day. And so out of 9 districts, when you break out one, this is your number. But overall, since we've been in office since January 1 of 2018, we've torn down well over 1,000 across the entire city in all 9 districts. Councilwoman, did you want to speak to this issue? Because I know you're going to get called about dilapidation.
Well, the biggest one I want to point out, just so anyone hasn't seen it, is that we were able to demolish those apartments, the Center Street apartments. They had been up for decades, and we were finally able to get them down. I'm very happy about that. So we'll talk about the plans for that area soon, but that's a big win for District 6, Mayor Wilson.
Pretty cool. All right, everybody, we're going to jump into the housing code enforcement inspection updates next. As you see on this slide, there's just a breakdown, everybody. You have the number of houses, a number of homes that are inspected. So many of you all complain about some of the things you see on your neighbor's porch, in their backyard, in their front yard. We want you to know, literally just over the last year, from January 1 of 2020 up until now, we have inspected just in District 6, 1,500 plus you all have complained about. In addition to that, we have the number of homes demolished based on the housing code enforcement inspections. is 63 from that number I just showed you on the previous slide. So as we go to the next one, I want to talk about condemnation cases. So again, some structures that have been condemned, identified for demolition in your district. You see the breakout. You see the number in Arlington West End, as well as both Titusville, Powderly, Smithfield, South Titusville, and West End Manor. So these are ones we have identified in addition to what's already on the list that needs to be torn down. So they're in the queue. Each year we have an ability to set aside a certain amount of funding for demolition. Demolition is expensive, everybody, and the backlog is extensive. But we do want you to know we see it, we'll get to it. Which brings us to zoning enforcement cases. Again, there are a lot of citizens and some of our commercial small business owners who do things, and they may do them on purpose or they may not know they're in violation. But we include whether it's using their residential property for business use, outside storage, home occupation violations, fence violations, or inoperable vehicles. I imagine that a question will come up that will ask, hey, Mr. Mayor or Councilwoman Smitherman, do you all still do inspections? Does zoning inspections exist? The answer is yes. As you can see, active zoning enforcement cases are 71, and we closed out 57 of them. And so we're right at work. We'll continue to work. And I want to pass it to Councilwoman Smitherman if she wanted to add anything or share anything related to this matter.
No, Mayor, but I do want to remind the constituents to call 311 if you ever have an issue like this. And once you get the tracking number, to call our office, and then we'll send it to the mayor's office to make sure we get it turned in. But I want to thank code enforcement for the great work they've done in District 6.
Thank you. And look, I want to make it plain for y'all. Your house is a home. It's not a business. And you got neighbors. So use your home as a business if you're doing that. Check that outside storage. And your car off your yard, that's kind of junky and it's not cool. By the way, it's illegal. Stop it. So, and if you got a neighbor that's doing it, let us know so we can get at it. So we're going to jump into the housing code enforcement violations. Again, many of you all say, listen, I have a neighbor, or I have somebody on my block, I got somebody on my street, I got somebody in my neighborhood. These are the issues I'm concerned about. Again, what is the city of Birmingham doing related to any violations we see? We see some citizens with deteriorated roof systems that they're responsible for, damaged windows or doors, chipped exterior paint, damage to deteriorated other things, and inadequate utility service. We want you to know, literally in the last 12 months, again, inspections in just District 6, over 1,500. If you got issues you need assistance with, let us know. But our housing code enforcement will continue to cite violators. Council, you have anything you want to add?
No.
Cool. All right. We're trying to get through these, y'all, because we really, really want to reserve some time for your questions. Development of vacant properties is pretty plain and simple, as you see here. This number is for you to take advantage of and dial related to what's going on in this arena. I want to talk about weed abatement. We get a lot of calls about overgrown lots. We get a lot of calls about empty lots. You also know across the city and even in your district, District 6, there's a combination of things. You have lots that are owned by private citizens that the city of Birmingham legally just can't go on. There's a process. I've shared this many times, so I know a lot of you all already know this. And then there are lots we own that we try to be aggressive about. But as you see, just in 1 year again, just in your district, we've cut, cleaned, and cleared over 1,100 lots. We know when the spring time comes around, grass will start growing again. We also know that we have a big city, the largest city in the state, and so it was never meant for a city to be in the grass cutting business. When you have one problem of over blighted properties and you cut them down, you create another problem or more lots to cut. We have our own internal team. You all should know we also do private contractors. But the process of going on somebody's private property is not a short process and it's not a fast process, so it takes some time. But we will continue to be aggressive about cutting these empty lots. Let us know if you have any problems, call us so we can get on that list, get you on that list. Speaking of the next thing, which I know Councilwoman Smitherman has, her and I have had many, many conversations on your behalf about illegal dumping. This slide you see is straightforward. Call 311 if you see a site, or 254-6344 if you see a site. We have dumpsters in 4 areas of the city, and the one for District 6 is located at 501 6th Avenue South. Dear residents, or people you know, tell them to take advantage of this site. Instead of making their block or street nasty or their neighborhood nasty, there's literally in walking distance or driving distance in District 6. Take advantage of this area. We also have a new litter patrol that will start this month to address litter off interstates as well as off ramps, underpasses, main thoroughfares, right-of-ways, and alleys. But you got to do your part. We spend a lot of time cleaning up behind nasty adults. It's our job to keep our city clean, but as a citizen and a resident, it's also your job to co-help keep your city clean. You are adults. It is illegal to do dumping. It is illegal to litter. Stop being nasty. I don't know a other way to say it. We need your help to keep the city clean. Do you want to add anything to this?
Yes, Mayor Wilson. We understand that a lot of times it's not the constituents that live in the neighborhoods, but it's also people from different municipalities who have to pay garbage pickup fees that are coming into the neighborhoods and illegally dumping. And we're working actively to address that. So that's why it's very important if you see somebody illegal dumping, so we can be able to just kind of stop them from doing it. It's very important in legal dumping because it's not just your site, it's a way of living environmental issue. No one should have to wake up to that. Also, I've heard before that a lot of people will dump at a dumping site because they just think it's a normal area. It's not. Make sure you put your trash where it's supposed to be so Public Works can pick it up. Thank you.
Yeah, cool. Anything else? But this is a sensitive topic, so we're gonna speak as plain as we can to the people. All right. So listen, I want to go to the next slide where we want to talk about policing. Perception and reality are important in addressing crime. I want to tell you, in one hand, every crime with the exception of homicides is down in our city. Robbery is down, rape is down, assaults are down, crimes against property such as auto theft, burglary, all forms of theft are all down anywhere from, all those crimes I just named are down anywhere from 20 to 35%, which in one hand is good news. But for the record, one crime is too many. One robbery, one rape, one auto theft, one burglary is too many. But they have decreased with the exception of homicides. And speaking of homicides, many of them are being committed by guns or the use of a gun, which brings another issue of you all have, which we know, Council Smitherman and I know, which is too many gunshots. When you look at what we have before you here, it's important that you all know that the BPD, under Chief Smith's direction, has deployed an 8-person crime reduction task force assigned to city's 4 precincts. This task force responds to crime trends to help deter crime in certain areas. And so we see a spike, let's say in South Titusville and North Titusville, or certain parts of West End, etc. This team is able to respond. In addition to that, citywide task force handle complaints of speeding and aggressive driving. So if you all have a particular block or a particular intersection in District 6 that you need to bring to our attention, please let us know, give us that address, and I can share this information. Councilman Smitherman can share this information with BPD and they can respond to that area. Also, there's a new vice and human sex trafficking unit, which has not only been a growing problem in our city, but it's been a problem Councilor Smitherman has highlighted over and over and has brought more attention on behalf of victims and or potential victims for the city of Birmingham to be more on the front end and prevention end to address and decrease this issue, which I would be honored to speak to.
Yes, so it's actually Human Trafficking Awareness Month, so it's kind of ironic that you were talking about that. But if you see anything along the lines of that, make sure that you report it to us so we can get those victims or those women or men the help that they need. I want you all to take comfort right now. I know things may be a little bit scary and you may not feel safe right now, but I want you all to know that Mayor Wolfman and I understand we're doing everything that we can to make sure that you feel safe in your neighborhoods. I don't want you all to think that it's falling on deaf ears right now what's going on. So thank you, Mayor Wolfman.
Oh no, thank you for your concern this issue. She's going to be modest, but I do want to brag on her because this is an issue that she really drives home, very passionate about, and has made us all keenly aware and commit to addressing it. So thank you for taking on this issue.
Thank you.
I got one more topic on this, on reducing crime in District 6, and this shout out to Nicole King, who is the city attorney and her entire department. Listen, y'all, they created a nuisance abatement team. Their job is to eliminate drug nuisance that's in a commercial property or residential property. It doesn't matter if the property is single family or multi-family. So here's the deal. Call us away. Whatever word you want to use to report. If y'all see a nuisance and you know it's drugs or you know it's a problem, this task force is designed to investigate it and turn it over to the courthouse, literally to eliminate this drug nuisance. And if it's a house, if it's multifamily, the judge gives us permission to shut the whole thing down. People shouldn't be allowed to be comfortable enough to just sell drugs right next to you. So if you see a problem, you know of a problem, let us know, give us an address, we'll take it from there. I want to get into an issue everybody's concerned about, and that's resurfacing. Maybe this map does it justice. It's you see some blue and red on here. The blue is what you see resurfaced streets in the last 3 years. So this is a map of District 6. And the blue that you see on this map are streets that have been paved in the district in the years of 2018, 2019, and 2020, since Crystal Smith and I have been mayor and council. The streets you see, the 3 different colors actually, so it may not do you some justice on here, but I got the ledger here. There is a lighter red you see of streets being programmed, and then a darker red, if you can't see it, are streets that will be paved summer 20 and 21, so this upcoming summer. When you break that down, that's about almost 3 miles of street segments that were resurfaced just last year in 2020, and about 600,000 of an investment. That investment is different for different districts, but there was at least $10 million worth of street paving over 9 districts last year. And District 6 portion of that 10 million is 600,000. When you go to the next slide, I'm not sure how big this is, or if you all can zoom out to see the number of streets that have been paved over the years and over the last 2 years in District 6, but it's a good time to at least speak to some of them very quickly. You see a portion of Dennis to Jeff Ave, from Pearson Ave to 15th Place, Center Street to 9th Ave, 6th Street to 2nd and 3rd Ave, 13th Street from McMill to Fulton Ave, Alpha Street to Kappa, several of the Greek streets, Hugh Demon to Arthur Shores to 16th to 15th Ave to Macmillan, several streets on Macmillan to Cotton, as well as 14th, 16th, 17th Court, 1st Ave South, 20th Ave to Center Street, Center and Kappa, and from 1st Street South to Valley Creek to 6th Ave. We will continue to keep paving. There's a lot of streets in District 6, but we want you to know we're going to keep repaving, which speaks of, this next slide speaks to the streets will to be resurfaced in 2021. To read them out loud, again, the streets to be resurfaced in 2021 are 1st Street South, from 1st Ave to 6th Ave South, Center Street Way from 5 to 6th Ave South, Pearson Ave to 15 Southwest to Cotton Ave, and East Scooter from 13th Place to Crown Gas Station. I know y'all, everybody's tired of East Scooter, y'all. Too bad we don't have some superpower to fight the trucks, but maybe we'll send them a letter and tell them to stop damaging our streets. You want to say anything about this?
No, I'm just glad these streets are being resurfaced.
I got you. Speaking of, if you look at East Scooter, for example, and I know the councilman who lives in the district, she can tell you some of the worst streets with the worst potholes. We got a pothole crew. I call them the pothole mafia. Their job is to fill potholes. They got all type of equipment. They got new equipment. So you see here, just in 1 year, they literally have repaired almost 2,000 potholes. But potholes pop up every day. Please continue to keep reporting them to 311, etc. Take pictures, send them to whatever you need to do. Email them to us again. Mr. Lumsey, for example, the counselor's district office. Just let us know if you see a pothole. I think this is pretty self-explanatory. We'll do about 1.5 million this summer in street paving, and that'll be about $500,000. We'll go to the next slide. Same issue for sidewalks exists. This is pretty self-explanatory, about $250,000 for your district. There's more money in other districts too, so this is District 6 portion of repairing sidewalks, about 3,400 linear feet. And we will go to the next slide. Transportation issues. If you want us to go deeper, we definitely have James Fowler, who's our Department of Transportation, can go deeper on our Q&A section. But it's pretty self-explanatory to give you an update with BRT, which will go through the heart of District 6 along 6th Avenue. That should be south, not north. As well as the project will be under construction through 2021 and into early 22. So you'll see a lot of construction this year. The system is operational by next summer of 22. So this is exciting news. If you want to speak to this or how it can revolutionize your residents to get from point A to B.
I think it'll definitely help people to work as well. It'll help with making sure to take down those barriers we may have. So I want to thank you for this. And also, we also have on demand as well that service a part of District 6 as well. So we have a lot of good things that are coming our way as far as transportation.
Cool. So the counselor, if you go to the next slide and sketch out with an abracadabra, this is something she's been very passionate about. On demand, via, whatever you want to call it. She made sure that District 6 was included in the expansion of the service. The bottom line is we got to get some more money in the city coffers and tax dollars, so we can continue to spread this to the entire district. But via on demand is a game changer for our residents to get from point A to B, whether it's from home to work, whether it's from work to the grocery store, whether it's to the doctor's appointment or school. The bottom line is we acknowledge a lot of our residents don't have their own transportation, their own vehicle. As a city, let's continue to be creative and provide access for our residents to get from point A to B. And you all should know this is something your councilwoman, Crystal Smith, and champions all the time. So thank you for that. And boom, that's it, y'all. Let's get into some Q&A. I'm gonna shut up for a little while and let Silver Scarborough quarterback and facilitate this portion of it by probably actually asking a question. Well, I don't know what she's gonna do, so let me shut up. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Mayor. And we want to remind everyone, if you are on WebEx, you can post those questions in the Q&A. And if you're on Facebook, we have a team that is ready to capture them. So our first question of the evening is, are there plans to renovate the old Eagleton School?
You know, there's been conversation about Eagleton School with, what is it? What is the courthouse? It's the family court?
Courthouse.
Yeah, I wanted to get the whole name right. Jefferson County Family Court. Right.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a lot of conversation with Jefferson County Family Court. The judges over there, some of their team. There's interest in expansion of family court because they're busting at the seams on their site. And so as a city, we intentionally have not engaged any other partner because we want to be a good partner with family court. One of the reasons is so much devastation. Anyone who has to walk into that building is not having a good day, right? And so when you consider wraparound services, when you consider other services outside of possibly shattering someone's life, the conversation around Eagleton School is a site that helps families, a site that helps our youth, a site that provides additional wraparound services and any other services for families and or individuals who have to enter into family court. That being the case, that building is large and renovation is expensive. When you consider family court is owned and operated by the state, there's not a lot of money. What we have to find is the vision for what they want to do to match financial resources to people in the community who want to support that vision. The city of Birmingham wants to be one of those partners, but it's going to require a lot of other partners. And so there is no timeline on the renovation of Littleton, but there is a vision around supporting the rehabilitation of Littleton School. You want to add anything to that?
Yes, well, I know I've been talking with family court, and I think your office may on and off about helping them financially, like with grants. It's very important to have a one-stop with these wraparound services for family court, because a lot of times people will have to get on the bus and go all the way to Hoover, for example, to get a service done. So by preventing people from going all over the city, is be able to give people the things that they need. It's something very interesting that Mayor Wolf and I are both attorneys. So I actually interned at the family courthouse. So I understand the needs and the wants of the people that are needed there. So I'm really excited for this to happen.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Mayor and Councilor. The next concern is, first of all, and this will be a two-part question. It says that the crime in District 6 seems to be on the rise and that there are so many shootouts. What is BP doing to address this? And also someone wants to know, how can they get a stronger police presence in District 6?
So I'll start, and then if anyone on the team can open it up to our panelists for BPD to speak to this. Listen, that's a very fair question. It seems to, unfortunately, there seems to be a lot of reckless behavior lately. And I'm going to give you an example. Two men have some type of verbal dispute over some issue, and then all of a sudden their beef becomes the fact that they start shooting at each other, either driving or walking, but it's such reckless behavior, and it needs to be stopped. No one's shooting in front of our police, but our police presence has increased. But this behavior is reckless. They're doing it in the daytime, they're doing it in the nighttime. What we got to continue to do is do two things: deploy additional resources, and then continue to partner with the residents' neighborhood watch. If y'all see or you think something's about to go down, call us so we can respond faster and possibly stop something before it happens. With that, I'll turn it over to anybody in BPD who would like to add an answer.
Thank you, Mayor. This is Deputy Chief Sellers. Glad to be here and glad to see you back, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
So some of the things that we've changed up here at BPD is we've added a discharging task force, because we have noticed some slight increases in dischargings. So we've assigned detectives to work specifically for those discharging chases, for the discharging into dwellings or vehicles. We've already started addressing that issue, and actually began addressing that issue sometime in the last year. So the stats for our discharging task force are sent to us every week, and we have a discharging detective assigned to every precinct. So something else we did beginning of this year is Chief Smith was able to find some a small amount of overtime money for us. So we've started a violent crime task force, which we're calling it, that's working Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we've got 6 cars out that we're moving all across the city based off of our CompStat crime control meetings that we're doing every day. So based off our crime stat control meetings, we're moving those resources to the areas where we're starting to see some of those trends at. And also, like we talked about earlier, Mayor, each precinct we've assigned a precinct task force, so we're doubling up the efforts with them as well. So we're aware of it. We're aware of all the areas based off of our shot spotter systems to see where the discharges are at, and we're continually addressing those daily.
Thank you. Thank you for that update.
Thank you so much. We also want to thank everyone who's just joining us for this town hall meeting with District 6 as we go on to another concern from the district. And the question is, what about the apartments directly on Cotton Avenue across from Arlington House and the New Era Church? What is going on with them?
You know, I'm not to speak, but if you're referring to issues you're concerned about, such as a nuisance, whether it's drugs, music, anything of that nature, what I want to do is get an address, and we can have the team I spoke to earlier that Ms. King is responsible for, the nuisance abatement team, investigate what's happening at these apartments. And if we find sufficient enough evidence that we can turn over and give to a judge to shut the whole thing down.
Thank you so much, Mayor. This one is concerning drivers, and the question is, what can be done or can anything be done about excessive speeding on Matt Leonard Drive?
Well, I think that's easy. The entire police department team is still on the call. They heard the address or intersection you gave. I'll just ask in front of them to deploy more resources there and maybe set up some type of track as well as some speed guns out there to make sure we start pulling people over who are speeding in that block. Give that address again or name?
On Matt Leonard Drive.
Matt Leonard Drive,
Yes,
District
sir.
6. Okay. We'll take care of it.
Got it. Thank you, sir. The next one, and they didn't say whether it's on public or private property, but the question is, what is the process for getting dead trees removed?
That's a good question. I probably I don't want to misspeak. You know, on private property, I'm not sure if the city of Birmingham is responsible for getting dead trees removed. However, if it's on city property, we'll take care of it. So you just give us an address, we'll remove it. But I think on private property, the resident is actually responsible for removing it. So I hope I answered that citizen's question. If that's not a satisfactory enough answer, again, please reach out to us so we can get more detail.
Good deal. Thanks, Mayor. This one, and we sometimes hear quite a bit about questions such as this, and it's a statement as well. It says, as soon as dumps and DPW cleans it up, someone comes out and dumps again. What can be done about this?
The reaction you see is because I'm really trying to, I mean, y'all know I speak real plain. I'm trying to find the words how to respond to this. The question was, someone dumps, we get a complaint. Council Smitherman and I get a complaint, and she'll let me know. We call DPW, it's picked up, and the person's question says somebody goes back and puts dumps right again. Listen, y'all, if this is in a residential area and you know somebody's dumping again, I would really, really hope as a neighborhood that if you do not have a neighborhood watch program, what a wonderful opportunity it is to start a neighborhood watch program and just be additional eyes and ears. Take your cell phone, take whatever device you have that has some type of recording mechanism or video mechanism and record that person you see dumping. I have two requests. Request one, do not engage that person. Simply just record. And request two, please turn it in to us, and I promise you we'll take it from there. Councilman, you want to add anything to it?
If you want to turn it in anonymously, my office and I will go out there and we'll talk to you discreetly about it. Or if you see it happening again, we'll go to the area site. I think it's important that the neighborhoods have a watch program. My office and I, we're going to work with the neighborhoods to have block watch captains. I know some of the neighborhoods may already have block captains, and it started under Mayor Arrington, but that's something that we want to work on with you all, even during the pandemic.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Mayor. And for everyone that's listening, to report illegal dumping and illegal dump sites, we want to remind you that you can call 311 at any time. And also, we do have an office of customer service, and you can send emails to Alicia Lumpkin. That's ALICIA.LUMPKIN at birminghamal.gov. We have people that are standing by that are waiting to get the information from you. We just need you to let us know what's going on and where it's going on. The next question is code enforcement still working? And the
Yes.
statement that follows, it says, I see junk in yards, old sofas on porches, inoperable cars and driveways, and illegal car lots being run in people's yards. How do we file a complaint?
All right. Two things. Let me answer the question first. The answer is yes. Code enforcement exists. As you see, between January 1 of 2020 and January of 2021, over anywhere between 1,000 and 1,500 code inspections, cases enforced, investigated, etc., and many resolved. If you see a case, if you see an issue of an inoperable vehicle, if you see an issue that's you believe is a code violation of someone's private property that doesn't comply with our housing code ordinance, please, y'all, call 311. Our 311 system has been revamped. It's more efficient. It works. We will respond. Call Councilor Smitherman's office. Call the community representatives who I mentioned at the beginning, and we'll take care of it. We'll investigate it. We'll enforce what needs to be enforced. Thank you, Ms. Silva.
Thank you so much, Mayor. The next question is, does the city hold companies with large trucks accountable for repairing the roads?
So she's probably referring to that question. I'm not she. Whoever brought this question to us is probably referring to East Schooler Road, where we sit back off the deep end of that street. There's a company or more than one company, and trucks come off that road all the time, and we know they're causing damage to our street. I think it's going to be really important as a city that we continue to make calls and emails and letters to those companies, no different than we would do to the rail companies such as CSX, etc. When they cause ample disturbance and people have to wait too long. We have to let them know they're destroying our streets. It's no different than when, in my opinion, it's no different when a utility company the street for repair and they have to be responsible. I think the same accountability should exist, and we need to enforce it more. Would you like to add anything to that?
No, you did a good job.
Cool.
Thank you so much, Mayor and Councilor. Next question, how do we get no littering signs around the district?
Well, how about this? I'm gonna call it audible. And I'm going to ask one of my team members who you all can't see so I can get you an honest answer. Do you know how simple?
Yes, individuals should contact Alicia Lumpkin with our customer service department and send your name and email address. Your name and your address and phone number. She will follow up with you on the process to get the no littering signs or no dumping signs in your area.
Thank you, Ms. Tim.
Again, her email address is alicia.lumpkin, LUMPKIN @birminghamal.gov.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Ms. Temple and Mayor. The next question, and it's a statement that begins with it. It says, we hear a lot of gunshots in the district. Is there anything that can be done about this? Because we want to feel safe in our homes.
I would like to yield the floor again to Mr. Sellers or anybody else with BPD to address the gunshot issues, particularly in the gold wire from 14th to 15th Street Southwest.
So, Mayor, we recognize there's been a number of shootings within the city, a lot of gunfire within the city. We do have a reduction task force going right now, responding to the various calls. Over this past year, we've already taken close to 1,600 handguns off the street at the end of last year, and we've taken another 133 off the streets so far this year. We are working on the problem, and we hope to show tremendous reduction in this area, as this is one of our main focuses for the city.
Thank you, Chief. And I'll just add, Birmingham Police Department has a great relationship with the federal government related to I'm trying to get my alphabets right, alcohol, firearms, and tobacco. And part of what they do is address, the illegal sale of guns, distribution of guns, etc. It is just unfortunate in our culture, y'all, that the access to a gun is too easy. And then where we've moved to as a culture that doesn't work well for the citizens of District 6 is people solve their conflict, their beef, or their issue by using a gun. It's stupid, it's wrong, it's illegal, and it hurts people. And sometimes people not only get hurt, but people get killed. There's the truth is the police will continue to do its part. As Chief said, they've taken already 100 guns off the street, and it's only 23, 24 days, 25 days into the year. This is more than policing. And we just have to come together to figure it out. But the people on this call are not the people that are buying the guns illegally or solving their beef by pulling triggers. And so we got to find more creative ways to reach the people to let them know your behavior is not only hurting yourself or the person you got beef with, it's hurting innocent people as well. So,
Trains blocking railroad crossings are more critical. How do you resolve or report this issue?
so the city of Birmingham, as many of you all know, is not only the center of our state, but the center of the Southeast. And a lot of train tracks, rail lines run through our city based on one of the reasons our city was founded related to just access, points of access, and the natural resources here. Here's the bad part. In 2020 and 2021, man, all of us are very tired of these trains blocking intersections. And I promise y'all, every time the councilwoman brings it to my attention, every time a citizen brings it to my attention, we call our federal partners in DC to say, hey, we need your help in leaning in on these companies who just sitting there. Our citizens got to get home to their children. They got to get to work on time. They got to get to their doctor's appointment on time. It's unfair. It's not cool. Please help. They set up a conversation or a meeting with the rail line people. They tell us they're going to get better, and then it doesn't get better. And so what we'll do is continue to reach out to our federal partners and see what points of resolve can we have, because the rail lines have a lot of power and influence. But we need to let them know they're disrupting everyday life for our citizens, and it's not fair. You want to add anything? Because I know this is a topic you bring to my attention. I know your office does as well.
Yes, we just want to acknowledge that we do turn in your complaints. I know there's one particular train track in Tisville that has been stopping on the railroad tracks for hours. And what usually happens is, because you're probably wondering, well, where does that complaint go? So what happens is my office will give it to the mayor's office. And usually we'll try to talk to the railroad company, like what Mayor Woodfin was saying, but a lot of times it falls on deaf ears. So hopefully that's something we can put on our federal lobbyist agenda to get our federal partners to help us out.
Yes. The lot of where the train, I guess the rail companies don't have to report to us. So we need federal help, the truth, to get this issue resolved. So I know it's very frustrating, and it's not cool, but we will continue to reach out to our federal partners.
Thanks, Mayor. And just to give you a time check, it's about 6:50, and we'll have a couple more questions before we bring this to a close. And this one is about our littlest citizens in the city. It says, how can we get a kids at play sign to prevent speeding in our neighborhoods?
That's a good question. One that I want Ms. Temple, she's in a position to answer again.
Mayor, I think this would be a question for James Fowler from Transportation. We have worked with Mr. Fowler when it comes to the no littering signs, and so I want to see if he can address this for us.
Yeah, hi, I'm James Fowler, and I serve as the director of the Birmingham Department of Transportation. And I absolutely understand the question about the children at play. I grew up and I had one of those signs close to my house as well. One of the things that I guess has come about in the last couple of decades, however, is that one, there's not good data that shows that those signs actually make streets safer. And then two, there's not really a good method for indicating where the sign should or should not go. So the sign itself is actually not supported federally by the manual on uniform traffic control devices. And so because that sign doesn't really necessarily, it's not recommended federally, what we would actually prefer for you to do is to reach out to our office to explore other safety options for a street where we were concerned about access, particularly pedestrian and children safety. So the phone number for our office to reach out and have that discussion is 205-254-2450. And again, that phone number is 254-2450. So we would love to have that discussion and hopefully explore options that can work.
And Mr. Fowler, if I can piggyback on something that you just said, if BPD can chime in, the question does address to prevent speeding in our neighborhood. So if BPD can give us a number or an email address for if people are having problems in their community about speeders, how can they partner with BPD to address that?
I'm sorry, Shonda, are you asking that question of? Yep.
So we would encourage everybody to make sure they know the phone numbers for each precinct that they're in. Reach out to that precinct commander and let them know the areas that they've got speeding. So our speeding task force has done a really, really good job in the last year that we've enacted. Let me give you some numbers. So 2019, City of Birmingham, we wrote 22,000 citations, and that's speeding on the interstates, that's speeding on the back roads, that's distracted driving, all types of traffic enforcement actions. So in 2020, we increased that by 12,000 citations. And a lot of that is due to our traffic task force, moving them around, trying to reduce traffic fatalities and trying to reduce accidents. So pretty proud of the progress that they've made and the reductions that we've made in traffic accidents in 2020. So if we could reach out to the precincts and let them know where the issues are at, and we'll send the traffic task force over there. We've already got them headed to Matt Litter Drive now, so that's already going to be taken care of. We know where that is. It runs right off Spalding and Shakuta. So reach out to the precincts, and we'll be glad to address those. And we appreciate people calling in because we enforce a lot of traffic on the main thoroughfares, but the side streets where people are speeding at is where we need people to reach out to us and let us know what's going on. So please reach out to your precincts, and we'll be glad to handle that.
Deputy Police Chief Sellers, thank you so much. One last question for Mr. Fowler. We have, do they work, and can individuals reach out to your department as well? And this will be our last question for the evening. Mr. Fowler, can you answer that?
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. Yes, so the locations now where we've started to install the speed humps, they have actually been working. And so the residents that live on those streets have reported just very positive results and changes in driver behavior. And so, as you can imagine, the request for those has been very popular since we started that program. And so we've been actually flooded with those requests, which is not necessarily a bad problem to have. But please do reach out to our office, and we'll make sure that your street is on the list of streets that we're evaluating. And I think there is a lot of opportunity to use those in appropriate locations. Each request does have to be investigated specifically. We collect some data. We also review it with the police department and fire department and others. And so we can't work through those too quickly, but we are working through that list, and they are effective. And that's something that we're hoping to work with the residents and council and others to install more of. So thank you.
Thank you, James. And Mayor, this will be our last question of the night. The question is, what can be done about stray dogs and cats?
We want you to call animal control. Let's see. Again, it's one of those situations where I don't have the actual number to call or the email address, but I think one of my team members can provide that information to you right quick.
Sure, Mayor. We're going to allow Mr. Ralph DeBartoleten to possibly answer this, but also if individuals have questions about stray dogs and cats, they can send an email to the Office of Public Information. That email address is opi@birminghamal.gov. Mr. DeBartoleten, can you jump on and tell us how individuals can address the stray dogs and cat issue in their neighborhood?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Temple, and thank you, Mayor and Council Smithman. Um, my name is Ralph DeBartlett. I serve as the director with DPW. So if you have a stray dog, a stray animal that's in your area neighborhood, you can call 311. If you can't reach anyone with 311, you can call our dispatch. We have dispatch working around the clock, and they station at City Hall at 311 call center where 911 is as well. So you can call 254 area code 205-254-6344, and that dispatch would notify animal control, and they are on call. So we have someone that's be on call after hours.
Mr. Bartlett, thank you so much. Just wanted to follow up and let individuals know that they should call 311 and not 911 when it comes to reporting stray animals. Again, if you want to get in touch with Public Works, you need to call 205-254-6344. That number is 205-254-6344. That's going to wrap our Q&A for this evening, and we're going to kick it back over to the mayor and Councilor Smitherman to close us out.
Well, I'll be very brief in my closing. I want to yield the final remarks to Councilor Smitherman, who I have a great working relationship with, and look forward to her and I continuing to serve the residents of District 6. I want to start by thanking the neighborhood leaders for everything they do in District 6. So big shout out to the presidents, vice presidents, and secretaries of District 6. Another shout out to the small business owners who keep District 6 thriving. Thank you for taking risks every day for everything you do. Another shout out to the faith leaders and other leaders in District 6. Shout out to Princeton Hospital, where I was, and everybody there who took care of me, the doctors and nurses. But my main biggest shout out and thank you is to the citizens and residents of District 6. Thank you for what you do every day, living in our city, for helping keep the city clean, for working and partnering with the city and doing your part as active citizens. And thank you for participating tonight. With that, I yield to Councilwoman Princess Mary.
And for hosting this town hall meeting. He and I have been talking for weeks about what type of format we wanted to have. I think this is a great format because we still want you all to have access to us, like I mentioned earlier. I know one big issue before we get off is trash pickup. If your trash is missed or anything, please feel free to call my office or email me. I want to emphasize enough that you can call my office. We will always be there. We go out in the district twice a week, even during the pandemic. So if you have any additional questions, you can email me at crystal.smitherman@birminghamal.gov. We want you all to stay safe, masked up, social distance, and just continue to just have pride in your district. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.